In the meantime, I think to start with, for some of the new people here, is why do we even have this product available? And I think the first quote from the U.S. Department of Energy pretty much says it all. Up to 25% of the billable electricity consumed in homes and businesses is non-productive and unusable. And the reason for that is because of the spikes and surges that are inherent in every electricity system. Those spikes and surges you pay for, just not usable. And for the people that have attended my seminars, the best way to visualize that, to see it, is that old glass of beer, right guys? You have a glass of beer, you go in a restaurant, you buy a glass of beer. I know Earl Shaw, he loves his beer. He goes in, he buys it, pays for a full glass of beer. Would somebody tell me why there's so much suds up there? We're paying for it, right? Just can't use it. So when you think or when you visualize this in your head, those spikes and surges are the foam in the electricity system. So what we do is we manufacture the Energymizer system, which it's not just one box. There's many boxes depending upon the size of the facility. And that unit, through our capacitor banks, is going to capture those spikes and surges. It's going to go through a set of filters where it's not only flattened, but also all the harmful effects of the EMFs are taken out of the circuitry, and then it's released back into the circuit as needed. So when we do that, we can guarantee an 8% reduction in energy consumption. All right? Only for momentous. So in a and I keep saying this, and you'll hear me say it at every convention, for a deregulated market where we're trying to build our business and we're going out to commercial accounts, oh, this is the deal changer. You've got now 8% extra to play with. I don't want to see anybody sitting there and fighting over 1/8 of a penny a kilowatt hour. It's nuts. We don't need to do that anymore. We just need to streamline the process to make it easier for you to go in and do this stuff. So, you know, we use 3 words, right, Toronto? 3 words to explain it. We store, we flatten, and we release clean electricity into the system. When we do that, as you can see, we do not go in front of the circuit breaker panel. We go behind the circuit breaker panel. And just to let some people know, one of the momentous reps here had us size up this whole facility. So is that you out there? Beautiful. We went out there, and we're going to work everything to get the Gaylord as a reference. All right? So we take that and we put it in. Now what it does, if you can see the clean electricity, you're going to preserve the pumps and motors and all the machinery and the air conditioning and make it last longer. It's a fact of life. And that's, well, let me see where we are here. The increased equipment life, which I call a return on asset. It's one thing to have a return on investment, but it's another to keep equipment running longer. We currently do, I think I might have mentioned this to somebody, we just did TRW, I think, in St. Louis, one of their plants. And the reason they wanted to do it was because of the saving of their equipment. They got $500,000 pieces of equipment there. But whether it's $500,000 to TRW or $20,000 to another businessman, it's an important fact. And then again, we reduce those electromagnetic fields for you. So we take all that harmful effects, as you know, from the cell phones and microwaves. Well, it's in your electricity system as well. In fact, that we provide these certificates for restaurants and people that want them to put them on their windows to show that they're going green. They're using Safe Green certified establishment. This is for all of us to do. But this is going to get better when I show you how we're going to do this. And then lastly, I want to talk about our savings guarantee for those that don't know it. It's real simple. We install the equipment. 12 months later, we do a savings summary. We put in all of the data from last year, this year, cooling degree days, all kinds of data that the guys find to put in, productivity, and we come up. If we provide 8, 10, 12, and we normally get 10 or 12, 8, 10, 12 or better, well, everybody's happy. If we get 6%, the difference between 6 and 8% is 25%, we will go in and rebate 12 months back and reduce their rent or lease by 25%. So it's always 8% positive, right? Thank you. Lastly, before I go into the next step, I just want to talk real quickly about how we present this stuff. I'm going to do something real quick with you, and I've done it at seminars. People that have attended it have heard it before. But for those that haven't, let me go again. The hardest thing in my mind in doing these presentations is how do you start them? Because I think once you start them, you can kind of flow. You know, it's like coming up here. When I come up here, I think, how am I going to start this so I could then get into the zone and start letting it flow? And it's the same when we visit a commercial client. So I think one of the things that I do is I always engage my client by asking them, don't you agree we are going through the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression? And everybody is going to agree with you because it's true. In fact, it's probably worse because it's not ending. So what we want to do next is say, how are you surviving? What are you doing to survive? My guess would be you probably cut employees, cut advertising, cut supplies. I think you're doing whatever you need to do to survive. I just want to talk to you about one of the expenses you have that you may not have concentrated on, and that is your electricity. Now, when we get to that point, we're going to talk about supply, delivery, and demand. I'm not going to go into it today because we're doing these seminars, but I will say this. In a deregulated state, when somebody says to you, if you go into that commercial account and says to you, you know what? I've already done it. And you go, what'd you do? I've already purchased electricity. I guarantee you 95, and I'm being generous here, 95% of the people make some small talk, when's your contract up, I'd love to quote it, walk out, and they never come back. What a shame. How about this? How about great? I think that's the first smart step you did, purchasing electricity. That's great. Now you're spending less money to waste your electricity. Get into the conversation. Has anybody talked to you about demand? Get into EMS. And EMS will take you into electricity. It's the way it's supposed to work. So during our seminars, we go a lot more in depth. And when we come back to Dallas, and Toronto, we're going to do a lot of role playing so that we can even get more proficient at this stuff. And we've got trifold brochures that tell the whole story for you. But more importantly, and you know some of our featured clients, everything from Subway to the Amway Arena, where the Magic play, to restaurants, to nursing homes, you name it, we've got it. Except for one, I want the Gaylord. So let's get the Gaylord. But I'm going to show you something. You know, I look at our growth since we started here, and although the bar graph looks nice, I am so not happy that I had to sit down and figure out what it is we were doing, not wrong, but what we could do to make this better for everybody. So we're changing our plan around a little, and I want to see what you all think about it. Because our plan now is we're in the process of doing a presentation video. You don't have to talk. You can go in, put the video in. This will tell the whole story, right? So that you can then ask for the bills. Oh, by the way, we're doing it in Spanish, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese. So I want everybody covered, because I was fortunate enough to be brought into the Vietnamese, the Filipino communities, and the Chinese community, and I know that we have to have our material in the language of our client. So that's what we're doing. So now you get the bills. You're going to send the bills into us like you normally do, and you're going to get back a proposal, which is what you normally do, but it's not going to come to you right away. We have a new department set up, and it's going to go to that department. And they're going to call you, and they're going to say, I've got this proposal for you. When are you going back to present it? Well, I'm going to go back next Tuesday. Well, let me ask you something. How do you feel about going back to present it? And I'm going to get either of two answers our department. Either I feel really good, I know what I'm doing, which is great, go ahead, knock them out. Or I'm going to get back, I'm a little uncomfortable. Well, when we hear we're a little uncomfortable, let me tell you what we're doing. We're going to go turn around and say, you're going to be there? What time are you going to be there? 10:30? Get us on the phone. We're going to help you close that client. Right? So we're going to make this really simple. I don't know how much more simple I can make it, but we're going to have the video in the language and people in our department to help you present and hopefully obtain a new client for yourself. Before I go into this, I want to bring out a little small part of my little EMS operation. And the reason I want to do that is because everybody always sees me and they wonder, is there anybody else back there? And there is. And I want to start with somebody that's been with me for 18 years. He's the guy whose number I give out at every seminar. So I want to bring out, and please, let's hold our applause. I'll bring everybody out, Mr. Barry Rovin. Then along with Barry, hey Barry, what's happening, buddy? Then along with Barry, I've got a gentleman here in Dallas that is setting up our help room to be able to get on the phone with his people and your clients to help present and close. Great guy, again, a gentleman I know for many years, Mr. Kenny Bloomberg. Ken. And then everybody wonders, kind of, how do we get this stuff installed? Well, we have a chief technology officer that heads up all the electricians we have around the country. And I'd like to introduce to you Joe Saglambeni. So he's there to help in all the installations. In fact, Joe was the guy that was going around, I believe, at the Gaylord. Yes, right. I see that hand. And then finally, we need glue to keep this all together, and I certainly need somebody to clean up what I start. So I want you to meet my partner and another guy that I truly, truly love, Yoni Asherov. He is our glue. So we talk about a goal is a dream with a deadline. True enough. So here's what we want to do to help make your deadline a goal and not a dream. And so what we're going to do for March is every EMS account that is closed, whether it's a month's rent or a month's lease, 75% of that month is going to the rep as a bonus. All right? 25% is going to the person that signed them. So, and if this works out well, we're going to follow it through. But think about that. Everybody's got a chance to make 75% and 25%. So this is, in fact, you know what? The heck with it. Let's start it. You know what? Let's start it now. Dick Brook, you there? All right. Dick Brook, didn't we just install something, a Sonic or something? I believe, was it Sonic? Well, you know what? Why don't we just start with you? You know what? Also, is Don Hicks here? Where are you, Don? Don, aren't we putting in a church? Two of them? Well, you're part of it. Well, let's start with you too, okay? So we've got everybody motivated, and show me, make me have to do this again next month. And the only way you can make me do it, just don't have a crazy goal. Get one account for me. Get one account for yourselves. Get one account for your company. And then we'll worry about April. Now, if you're good enough to get more than one, keep them rolling. 75% of whatever the rent or lease is as an added bonus, plus your commissions and your points and everything else, and 25% to the person that signed you up. Yes? Jason here? Stand up, Jason. What the heck? I'm going to tell you, you get the deal done, you got it too, Jason. All right? What's that? Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So, having said that, I just want to close by saying this. I realize that we're going into a new era at Momentous. It's not just about signing people up. I think it's about signing people up and making them productive. Do you agree with that? So help us, because we're going to make everybody productive so that we can all build our businesses, have a better life, and more importantly, a better future for our children as well. So with that, I say thank you, God bless, and take care. Thank you.